You're not socially awkward. You're in survival mode. Or more eloquently put, being in certain social situations triggers a mild state of fight or flight. You feel it's irrational, and that somehow the emotion or the feeling or the anxiety is way too disproportionately high compared to what you'd logically expect the situation to be. Good news though, it's curable, and becoming socially free and confident is a worthwhile goal that is completely achievable. Well, who am I and why should you listen to me? Why should you spend 20, 30 minutes of your time listening to this random dude on the internet? Well, I have done the exact transformation that you're trying to do right now. I've been where you are, and it took me years to trial and error my way to actually succeeding. But if you can listen to me, someone who's already done it. Like, for example, I used to be scared of having a normal conversation with a cashier, asking a simple question, being and overthinking a simple conversation that I had that meant nothing. Yet I'd overthink it. Anxiety would overwhelm me before the event. I'd have the thing, I'd be overthinking, I wouldn't be fully present. I'd be sort of dissociated. And then after, I'd be ruminating on how I could have done it better. A 30-second interaction now lasted hours of just negative bullcrap. And now, a few weeks ago, I went to the beach and I was able to effortlessly approach and have a 30-minute conversation with a beautiful young woman. Connected with her, and it was lovely. Effortless, I was able to joke, and there's no bullshit going on before, after, or during. So if that sounds like something you want to be able to do effortlessly, now I'm going to share with you why you're in survival mode and how to actually completely get rid of it. Now, at some point in your life, you've had an experience that has linked subconsciously threat to your identity and your value as a human being related to social situations. Like conditional value statements, you can only be okay if the other person likes you. Conditional value statements that your mind subconsciously runs off of, that you have no awareness of, that drives your actions and your motivations, which causes overthinking, neediness, and general fear when interacting with people. I fell in love and got rejected. And as a conclusion to that event, I judged that I am fundamentally unlovable. Because of this one event, well, more accurately, I formed like the outskirts of this belief in childhood, and then it just got like confirmed so hard by this event. Like I sort of felt that I was fundamentally unlovable, and then this event hit, and it's like, fuck man, you're really unlovable. That's like how my subconscious sees that. Or another one was if I wasn't liked by everyone in the room, despite how rational that is, I would see myself as not valuable as a human being. Or another one, if I wasn't self-improving, if I wasn't constantly being productive, doing more, being more, then I was just worthless. This is the self-improvement value trap. Self-improvement is good, but if you're only doing it because you feel enough because you're self-improving, you're going to keep moving the goalposts over and over and over again, and you're never going to feel enough. No matter how much external achievement you get, it's never going to feel enough, and you're never going to feel whole. The main thing is, if I'm not liked by other people, what does this say about me? If a certain situation plays out, what does this say about me? If I'm rejected, this says about me. The external event happens, and what you deep down think it says about you as a person, to your value, this is what actually matters. And if you can find out what subconscious conditions you're running on, then you can learn to change that and rewire them. Also, whenever a negative situation comes up, you can actually shift your perspective. For example, imagine two people. Person one gets rejected by a girl, person two gets rejected by a girl. Person one, however, as a logical conclusion, believes that he's fundamentally unlovable and he's not attractive to women. All women are shitty, hoes, and I'll never get a girlfriend. because they got rejected. They make these conclusions, or person 2 views rejection as growth, as honestly a statistic. If I get rejected 100 more times, I am basically guaranteed to find the love of my life. And this is just one step closer to finding the love of my life. Now, who do you think is going to be more likely to get what they want out of life? Person 2's perspective or person 1's? It's the same experience, the same event, yet completely different interpretations of that same event. Hence why people can experience the same thing and make completely different conclusions from the event. Because we have had different experiences and we will form different beliefs based on the beliefs we already have. So what we must do then is separate our value as a human being away from the external views and opinions of other people. Regardless of what happens, you have to have an underlying feeling that you are okay regardless of what happens. Regardless of what they say, think, do, I'm going to be okay because I am okay with myself. When you can make this change, rejection hits so much less. Everything, having someone not like you, everything hits less because you are already okay, regardless of if they like you or not. And you might think that, this doesn't affect me. I don't run on these loops. I'm superior somehow. This is the exact belief that I used to have. That I was somehow superior, that I was somehow better, that this somehow didn't affect me, that these loops that other people ran, it doesn't affect me. I'm fucking way better than that, mate. My ego wouldn't let me see the truth. Now, if that's happening to you, take a big long look in the mirror and actually try to not defend yourself. A lot of the problems in our life comes from the ability to accept reality as it is, instead of what we want it to be. You want yourself to be stronger, not care what other people think, but deep down you do. And your refusal to accept that is partly the problem. I'll give you an example of this from my own life. I was on a holiday about 2-3 years ago, and one of my mates was constantly pissing me off. He was constantly saying that I was an attention seeker and that everything I did, I was basically screaming, I need validation, I need attention. And every time he would make a comment like that, I would get subtly irritated and pissed off. And my holiday was basically being ruined because he wouldn't shut up about this. Now, why was I getting so pissed off? Because this irritated a deep part of myself that I didn't accept. The only way that this can upset me is if there is some truth to the actual statement that's being said. The only way it can affect me is if there's some truth. If your ego gets upset, irritated, a deep anger swells within, that means there is something underneath that has some justification to it. I was pissed off at my mate, and it took a week after the holiday to realize, why am I actually getting so pissed off? Him saying simple comments shouldn't upset me so much. But it was. Why? Why is this upsetting me so much? Why? What the hell is going on here? It's because I refuse to accept parts of myself. This is what shadow work is, or delving into the unconscious. We have parts of ourselves that we refuse to accept. Parts that are deemed bad or unhelpful or unsafe to come out, likely from childhood. These screw ourselves over because we can't just act like we're already whole because we're not whole. We're like picture a pie graph. 50% of it is what's on the surface, what you're allowed. The other 50% is repressed shit, shadow, and other crap that's being repressed. Do you think you're going to be whole by repressing 50% of what you are? This is partly why people just don't feel fundamentally okay. Because they're not okay unless they're performing or trying to be or perceived in a certain light. Now, a great way to find this out is what's called projection. What we find we don't like in other people is often a representation of what we don't like about ourselves. And a good note, a close family member, a close friend, a partner, you will often have things you don't like about them. Now, take those things that you really don't like about them and place a mirror there. Do I actually hate this thing about them, or is it something I don't like about myself? Is it a trait I demonize and hate that I refuse to accept I could actually do? Is there circumstances or situations where I have behaved in this certain light? Hold on a second. This was me to a T with my mother. I would find her and judge the shit out of her for being judgmental. As funny as that is. Yeah, I judged her for being judgmental while being judgmental. Judgmentalception. I judged her for being emotionally weak and caring what other people think. She was so emotionally needy for other people, and I found this repulsive. Why did I find this repulsive? Because I had made rules that this is just repulsive in my mind. Judged her, and now I cannot act in certain ways because of this. I essentially snooker myself or screw myself over. I cannot act in a way that I can talk to people about needs I have or feelings that I'm suppressing. I can't, because to do that is to be seen as weak, because I've judged my mum to be as weak when she does the same. So therefore I can't do it. And now the thing about the judgment, I was just judging the shit out of her whilst not seeing that. What am I doing? Motherfucker, I'm judging her. Often, things we don't like about other people are a representation of what we don't like about ourselves. Now, how does this relate to social anxiety? Well, if you judge others, if you constantly project your crap onto other people, acting with love and kindness and just existing safely, do you think this isn't going to affect you? You can't have or feel free in your interactions. There's always a subtle tightness and irritation. There's no subtle just, you know what, I can exist and be here and connect and just have fun. When there's always judgment or projection, there's always going to be a subtle, as I said, just irritation. Subtle not allowing you to exist. And by focusing and actually unrepressing those parts of yourself, letting go of the things you're judging others on, and accepting the parts of yourselves that you're projecting onto other people, by doing this is how you fix a large part of social anxiety. Because now parts of yourself are free and you don't have to constantly self-monitor yourself. That high degree of self-consciousness where you feel like you can't be free and you're ruminating and all of those crappy things that come with social anxiety, that will be lessened. You don't have to be so self-conscious because there's nothing to be self-conscious of. When you let go of the judgments and the projections and you unrepress those parts of yourself. And as well as all of this, there's even more. In childhood, okay, I don't like using this term, but it is a good descriptor. It's a good descriptor. You have trauma from childhood that unconsciously runs certain aspects of your life. If you had an experience, actually, let's back up, because some people have a view of trauma that is, it has to be abuse, murder, just extremely high-end, extreme stuff. That's not what I'm talking about here. However, that obviously is trauma. I'm talking about unprocessed emotion in the body. You have an experience at some point, you feel a ton of emotions coming up, and you don't actually get to process them. That leaves a fragment deep down that will come out in that exact same like environment and situation where you will sort of revert to that prior self. Or it will act as a sort of defense mechanism to get you not to engage in this situation. You can often be like picture you're 24 years old. You will go about your life 99.9% of the time, you'll be your 24-year-old self, you'll feel fine and whole. And then you'll get into a circumstance, a situation that is remarkably like something that's happened in your past. And then your body will fill you with shame, guilt, to get you not to do the thing that you never processed. It's a defense mechanism. And this is basically what trauma is. And by learning to heal your trauma, using breath work, using therapy, using other tools, then those same social situations won't trigger anxiety nearly as much. I heard certain situations in my past that I had unprocessed emotions regarding, and by going back into my past, processing the emotions, allowing whatever to come up, I felt so much lighter and freer, like spiritually, and I cared less what happened. Like I remember specifically, I went to a community event nearly right after, a day or two after I released a bunch of it. And this was literally the first time I was in like a group of like 15 people. I made a stupid joke and made like half the group laugh. And it was like so effortless, and I just like didn't care if it bombed or anything like that. Before, I would be way too self-conscious, or like, what if they don't like me? What? And I wouldn't say anything. But that trauma didn't come up. The emotion, it didn't need to be processed anymore. There was nothing to defend me from in that situation. Now, one of the main problems we have is the disconnection between our brain and our body. We can logically understand stuff, but still shame and shit can come up underneath. And we have basically no control over what's going on. We are like in social situations and we don't even know what thoughts are coming up because our bodies are dissociated from it because other crap's coming up. And we can't be aware of what's going on because we are disassociated. We are unaware of what's going on. And by actually getting the link between the body and the mind, you can do this through things like meditation and breath work. And I think there are other practices like yoga that can help. But I did meditation and breath work, and that allowed me. These are the key to basically everything. Meditation and breath work, and then accepting all parts of yourself and undoing all these shit like conditional value statements about ourselves. Doing all of that is how I fix social anxiety. Not just be confident, just expose yourself. It was all of this inner work, connecting my nervous system to my brain again, and feeling fundamentally safe that no matter what happens, I'll be okay. That I'm actually safe existing. You know, I know something funny. Like, I would just exist and I'd be under like a 10% state of fight or flight. Just existing for years due to those unprocessed emotions. I didn't realize how much this is affecting my health and my mental health. But by releasing the trauma, and everything felt so much lighter, better. I would get better, like, as a byproduct, 98% of the time, I sleep instantly now. How can that make any sense? To me, that just, it works. Your health gets better, your mind gets better, your socializing gets better, your relationships get better. You become stronger overall, more confident by releasing trauma. Everything by finding and accepting those parts of yourself that you're projecting onto others. This is how you fix your fucking life. Not, look, getting into the gym and making lots of money and exposing yourself to lots of hot girls and doing stuff like that. It's good, but you're fundamentally not going to feel enough. Remember my self-improvement loop from earlier? Constantly improving parts of myself, my life, yet all because I didn't feel enough. I constantly move the goalpost. It's fundamentally a losing strategy if you want to be happy. And I think most people want to be happy. Not too sure about that one, but gonna go out on a limb and say you want to be happy. So yeah, I hope you've learned something from this video, and yeah, take care of yourself, mate. Bye bye.